is Jalen Rose.
What up, Joe?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2. What do?
We're going to be more what they want.
Jalen Rose, we are starting the show for the second straight day with a little bit of Ball family slander. But this time it is much more warranted than before. Lonzo Ball had a matchup against the Knicks, and he showed up to Madison Square Garden in Nasir Jones' hometown wearing this sweatshirt with his face replacing Nas's on the It Was Written album cover. Jalen, why in the world would Lonzo Ball wear this sweatshirt to a New York Knicks game? Why?
I want to teach everybody a term that they may or may not have heard before. Don't beat down. And I know initially Nas was like, here's a young fella. He's in his early 20s. He probably don't know about the movement. Big baller brand trying to make a name off of me. I'm going to just ignore it. He knows my history. He has to, because he's walking around with a hoodie time and time again depicting my personal image of classic material that I put into the universe. So I'm just going to let it rock. I'm maybe going to date Nicki Minaj. I'm maybe going to open a chicken and waffles restaurant in NYC. I'm just going to do me. Because, Jalen, you know, 20 years ago, when we were at the Century Club in Los Angeles, hanging out, and you were rocking your Carl Kanaz, and we had the mean mugs and the eyes slanted, he wasn't even born. So I'm not going to even dignify that with a response.
You know what
But
happened?
when you come to my hometown, and you play against the Knicks, and you have the audacity to do this, oh man, he about to get an ether.
Here's what happened is Nas had been pushed so far that he kind of sort of responded on Instagram. He put a big Knicks logo up after the overtime Knicks win. But here's the thing for Lonzo. I haven't listened to every Africa Bambaataa song. I don't have Africa Bambaataa albums. But you know what I would never do? Slander Africa Bambaataa, because he is a legend. Sure, Lonzo, you might not know a lot about Nas, but someone around you needs to tell you to stop going at Nasir Jones. Of all the people, of all the celebrities, of all the rappers, of all the everything, why are you going after Nas of all people? Like, he is unequivocally, objectively one of the best rappers of all time. Whether he's in your top 5 or your top 10, he's in everybody's top 20. It's insane that he does this over and over again.
Well, first off, hit the brakes.
Okay.
Hit the brakes. Nas is in everybody's top 5, not top 10, not 20. When you talk about consistently delivering bars, and here's the other thing. This young man has the nerve, the audacity to call himself, besides a basketball player, an MC?
Oh, yeah, he's a rapper. I've heard some of his raps, and not quite up to the Nas level yet. And I love Lonzo Ball's basketball game. I even love his personality. It just seems so out of character for him to perpetuate this thing with, of all people, Nas. He's so calm, and I love his game. People talk about he can't shoot, he's struggling. No, he's not struggling. He had a great game. He's catching alley-oops, throwing passes. It was just, I don't imagine why he is doing this. Maybe he's doing it just so we talk about him?
It was a terrific family affair to see my dad, LeVar, sitting courtside with my stepbrothers and stepmom, and him playing well. No question about it. It was great to see that. But however, let me peel back the onion just a little bit.
Okay.
While we talk about the bluster of LeVar and how vocal he is, and we applaud Lonzo because he's quiet, he just goes about the effort. When you continue to wear a Nas icon shirt with your face depicted on it, that's really loud.
You're not making
screaming.
friends.
That's a pink suit with a pink car.
You're losing
like
more
Pinky
respect.
In Friday. No
You're losing more respect
it.
than you're gaining by doing this, Lonzo. Please trust us. Moving on, more LeVar Ball news. But this time it's a little different. Reportedly, the Lakers front office called in LeVar Ball to a meeting and asked him to tone down his antics, asked him to stop criticizing coaches, and create a better, more nurturing environment for his son on the Lakers. Jalen, do you think LeVar Ball will actually change his behavior after this meeting?
I think he will, but here's what's going to be different. He's just not going to criticize the coaching staff. For those that probably haven't been to the close to the foxhole as they think, these type of conversations happen all of the time. With agents, with managers, with family members, with mates, spouses. The list goes on and on of people that have a vested interest in said athlete, or just have selfish feelings and they need to see the athlete do well so they can benefit. Either way, the bottom line is you always have people that care about your best interest more than they care about the team. Because here's how this works.
How's it work?
The team can go 82-0 and win the championship. But if you ain't playing and you ain't contributing, you'll get your ring, but you won't be back. And so how do you make a name for yourself? Being a productive player and playing to your capability. So I understand that when LeVar talks loud and when he's present, I can't front. Lonzo does play better, which is why I have a solution. I don't just talk about problems.
Don't say it. Don't say it. I know what you're going to say. You can't say this on wax.
If LeVar can sit in the front row at Madison Square Garden and you don't want to put him on the staff, I have a suggestion.
What's that?
Give him front row tickets to every game.
I mean, you give him the Jack Nicholson seats? Sorry, Jack. We got LeVar Ball here. Here's why I think that LeVar Ball might actually adjust his behavior based on this is I've spent very, very small fleeting moments in the presence of Magic Johnson, and I know you've spent a lot of time with Magic Johnson, but the magic is not just a basketball thing. The magic is him as a human being. The smile, the generosity, the warmth, the hug. You know, he's so not intimidating, but influential. Like if he asked me for my left pinky, I'd be like, take my right thumb. Just take it, Irvin. Just take it. And I feel like if anybody could do it, like I don't think anyone from the Bus family could calm down LeVar Ball, but Magic Johnson certainly could.
Two of my idols growing up, Irvin Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas. You guys see them now. You see their Hall of Fame accolades, their amazing multi-million-dollar smiles. You know the thing I loved about both of those guys the most, especially when I had veneers? They're ruthless competitors, and they will fight you. They will fight each other. Look over my shoulder. They kissed before the game, and before you know it, 5 minutes later, they was clotheslining one another.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jalen, I got something that you won't love. It's Detroit basketball time. Do you remember earlier in the season when we were celebrating the Pistons and they were the surprise of the league? Well, since they beat the Cavs, they won the next game, and now they have lost 7 straight games, Jalen. The Pistons are on a 7-game losing streak. And after the game on Tuesday, Coach Stan Van Gundy said, quote, "That is extremely bad basketball. That's one of the worst losses I've seen as a coach, and I've coached 850-something games in between regular season and the playoffs." Jalen, what is happening to your hometown Pistons?
Got to get back to that blue-collar mentality where you're playing harder than the opponent, you're sharing the basketball, and you're doing all of the dirty work. Andre Drummond grabbing every rebound, scoring on the post, catching lobs, making free throws efficiently. Tobias Harris back playing at an all-star level with his points up, his three-point percentage up. And the key for all of this has got to be Reggie Jackson. When you sign him to a mega deal like he got, he has to be the point guard that you can rely on a nightly basis to not only get buckets because that's the strength of his game and playing in pick and roll, but to make the guys around him better. But who's on the sideline? Stand by me.
He said it was one of the worst losses out of 850 games. The Pistons gave him one of the worst losses. You just blindly love this team, don't you?
Here's the thing. Are we going to be in the playoffs? Yes.
No. I'm going to go no. I'm going to go no.
I'll bet you the Cinnamon Challenge on this show that we make the playoffs this year.
First of all, I have to tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about the history. Bill Simmons once did the Cinnamon Challenge and then tried to get Jalen to do it. Jalen didn't just refuse. There's unequivocally, there's no chance I will never, ever do it. And now you are saying that if the Pistons don't make the playoffs, you will do the Cinnamon Challenge? Accepted, my brother. Accepted. I cannot wait to see that.
And if they don't, you have to do it.
Light work. Come on. Coming up next on Jalen and Jacoby, Aaron Rodgers is medically cleared to play. The Packers are going to do that but should they? Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, everybody's talking about Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers went on his Instagram and posted a picture of himself in surgery, and the caption told everyone that he was medically cleared to return. The Packers need to basically run the table as they did last year to get into the playoffs. But the question is this: should the Packers start Aaron Rodgers with a slim chance to make the playoffs?
Absolutely. If they have any chance to make the playoffs and he's healthy, done his rehab, got the proper care from the doctors and the medical staff to put himself in position to return, and they have any sort of shot to make the playoffs, you must put him back in the lineup for the other 52 guys that found ways to win their last two games in overtime. And you know, a part of them was thinking, man, we just got to give number 12 a shot, and we may have an opportunity to make the playoffs if he gets healthy and gets cleared.
See, I disagree. They basically need to win the final 3 games, but the problem is the opponents. They play the Panthers, the team with the most sacks in the league, and then they play the Vikings with a ferocious defense, and then they play the Lions, which is a terrible team. But still, like, if you think about it, the idea that this Packers team is going to beat the Panthers and then beat the Vikings, and then if Aaron Rodgers is still healthy and then beat the Lions, they'll put them at 10-6, which would get them into the playoffs most likely. But I just don't see that happening, and I'm concerned about Aaron Rodgers' health. The man had 13 screws put into his clavicle. 13 screws in the clavicle. There's a slim chance they make the playoffs. If I were the Packers, I would say, you know what? Thank you, Aaron. Hundley's going to finish the season. We'll bring you back next year. Is that not sound logic?
If I was doing a list of who I felt were the best football players in the NFL, I would put Tom Brady number 1. I would put Aaron Rodgers number 2.
Facts.
Regardless of position.
Facts.
So it amazes me, however, that I've had this conversation with multiple people. I've seen this conversation be discussed. And I don't know if people are blinded by Aaron Rodgers' greatness, caught up in the hype, or just being groupies. So let me put this on wax. The Green Bay Packers will not win their last 3 games and make the playoffs.
It's not going to happen. I'll be shocked. I'm not even going to say I would be shocked, because I'm going to say it just flat out will not happen. But still, you think they should put him in the game, and I don't really understand why.
So, again, let me rewind the tape.
Hannibal Lecter.
How great did I say Aaron Rodgers was?
You put him at number 2 behind Brady, but it's really 1 and 1A.
Okay. He's done this before. He's talked about running the table, and his squad actually did it. And people are drawing on that like that has something to do with this year. It's a different football team. The other teams are different. The other teams are better. The Panthers are really good at football. Cam Newton has found his stride. Devin Funchess is going to be out there bossing up when he scores a touchdown. I don't think they're going to win their last 3 games. And if they win their first 2, I know I'm going to be right.
I love
because
it.
It's only fitting. The guy that he threw a Hail Mary against and almost made me shed a tear as an adult against my Detroit Lions, it would mean no better fact for me than to watch them win their first 2 games and then the Lions beat them by 14 in the final game.
Well, there'll be a lot of attention on that Panthers-Packers matchup, but there'll be more attention on the game in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are one of the hottest teams in the NFL. They host the New England Patriots with a great record, but also with a terrible loss on Monday night. The winner of this game will most likely be the number 1 seed in the AFC. There's a lot of hype surrounding this game, and Mike Tomlin bought into it. Let's listen.
We're excited about being in the kitchen, if you will. You know, it's good to be in the kitchen. The kitchen's in Pittsburgh, PA, this week in the National Football League, and at Heinz Field. And that's where you want to be in the middle of December. So we don't take it for granted. As competitors, we're excited about it. But as professionals, we know that preparation is going to be required. So we'll spend the rest of this time putting ourselves in great position to perform in the manner in which we desire to.
Jalen, do you like Tomlin buying into the hype of this big matchup?
I like the reference because I noticed it went over a lot of people's head. It made me realize that his statement was cultural.
Yeah, I had no idea what the kitchen thing was. I mean, I like it. It sounds cool. It gets me excited. But, like, honestly, I was like, the kitchen is in Pittsburgh? Like, what,
I don't want to make it too cultural on our program because it'll really go over people's heads when I start talking about the back of somebody's hair on their neck. That's too far gone. But what I will say, here's a different level that everybody else could understand. In the kitchen is where you cook up. It's where you do all of the preparations. And then that's where you eat good. That's what he's talking about. This is our chance to set the table, bring the Patriots to our field, and eat good off of their plate even if we had to. And I remember being on this program, not that it's breaking news, I'm pretty sure maybe Einstein probably said this also, but there's no surprise that Big Ben, he was the one people didn't think, leads the league in passing yards. Mm-hmm. Le'Veon Bell leads the league in rushing yards. Oh, and Antonio Brown leads the league in receiving yards.
Did you just suggest that Albert Einstein gave analysis on the Pittsburgh Steelers offense in 2017?
I was in the kitchen when we came up with E equals MC squared.
You're the best. Next on Jalen and Jacoby. The Pacers general manager is extremely competitive. Yes, I'm still trying to make competitive work. Just go with me.
It works. It works for you.
Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2. Jalen Rose, do you remember when Kevin Pritchard traded away Paul George and everyone was making fun of him, and now Victor Oladipo's playing well, Sabonis isn't bad?
Oladipo.
Well, Pritchard has taken it to a new level of competitiveness. He is now liking tweets about the trade. He's liking all these tweets. He's on Twitter just letting everybody know that maybe what they said about him and the Pacers was wrong. Jalen, do you like this level of competitiveness from the Pacers general manager?
I like what you did there. What's your word again?
Competitiveness. Competitive.
Of course I like it because I know you love it. Mm-hmm. And the thing about this is some people will say, well, he's a professional. He's a general manager of the team. That should be beneath me. No, it shouldn't. I hear the criticism. I knew it was a big move. I knew what I was doing in return. I had confidence in my ability to pull off a trade that was going to benefit my squad. And like back in the day, they're all going to laugh at me. They're all going to laugh at me. And now look, Victor Oladipo averaging more points, more assists, and more steals for the Pacers than Paul George did last year.
Jalen, are you familiar with the Stars program that goes by the name of Power?
Absolutely.
Well, the future of Power was in jeopardy. There was a $200 million lawsuit levied against 50 Cent and others claiming that they stole the concept for Power. Don't worry. That lawsuit was thrown out by a judge, is no longer valid. But in the hypothetical scenario in which this lawsuit forced the cancellation of Power, what would you do?
I'll start watching TV. I will boycott for X period of time. I'm serious. Like, that is my favorite show. Like, Ghost and Tommy and Tasha. Like, that's my family. I need to see what's going to happen in the next episodes with Andre. And
you look so serious.
It's way too much that needs to get played out. No doubt.
Don't worry, you will see that.
Kanan is now slim.
Power will continue.
So let me get this right. There's an individual walking this earth that went to court, hired an attorney, and said, there's a television show about a drug dealer that they stole that from me.
Yes, there's never been a television show about dealing drugs before in the history of the medium.
Got it.
And then we have this. Everyone's getting excited about the holiday spirit, you know, and everyone's decorating their house and wearing sweaters. But we have a new holiday trend, and it's called Christmas eyebrows. Take a look at these. Young ladies and young gentlemen are dressing up their eyebrows, making them look like wreaths, red and green, all up in there. Jalen, I'm in the holiday spirit. Are you? Do you think that Christmas eyebrows are cute, fly, or just dumb?
I love what you did there because that's my distinction. Either something is cute, where it's like young, has no gender attached, just youthful enthusiasm, things you would wear during Halloween. And there are things that are fly, that are just a little bit older, a little bit more mature. And so I personally feel like this is way out of my weight class. I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
But I have no problems individuals, especially 16 and under, doing such.
You made a crazy claim earlier in the show, and I'm going to make one now. I will wear Christmas eyebrows on this program if the staff can get it together. Moving on, Georgia.
There are people that think you wear Christmas eyebrows every day.
Moving on, George and Amal Clooney. They've got twins. They're twin parents, just like I am. And when they fly, they hand out noise-canceling headphones to the other passengers around them in case the babies cry. Question for you, though, Jalen. Should babies be allowed in first class? Or should you have to stow your babies?
This has nothing to do with babies. This has something to do with the people when they say boarding first class. All of the people that's all in the way like bumper cars. I got to do all that to walk through. Then I finally get to my seat. I'm trying to put my bag up there, trying to put my suit hanging up. There's people that ain't sitting in first class hanging up a suit, hanging up a bag, trying to use the bathroom. Those individuals need to be arrested.
Jalen, calm down. We will be back tomorrow.